Doop, 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 ba doop. Go live.
And then open that. Oh, I've got to open up. Beware.
Haley.
Creepy man who lives in the basement.
That's not me. Just want to make that clear. Not the creepy man that lives in the basement.
Okay. I don't know if you've gone live. I don't know. Have I gone live? I've gone live.
Did you go live? Did I go live? Who's going live?
No one knows. Okay, everyone's live. Huzzah.
Yay! We're doing our
Oh,
best.
wait, I haven't done my camera. There's my camera. Let me make sure OBS is working. Oh, where's camera gone? There it is.
Camera.
Hello.
Camera, where are you?
So, how's it going?
Oh, it's a going. It is a going.
It's a going. I didn't watch that Buffy link you sent me. I've been kind of overwhelmed with stuff at the moment. Life's a bit busy, so...
No, that's totally understandable. It's mostly like... it's mostly about like the drama going on behind the set, both with like Joss and then also with Nick Bredon. So I thought... just thought it was very interesting, and she's got like, she cites all of her sources, so and she, like, it's crazy because she's done quite a few like quote unquote like behind the set drama videos, and so I've listened to a couple of them because she does one on just the CW in general, and it sounds like they're really bad about hiring creators who would abuse their power. But
I kind of feel like it's because you came from a similar scene of music as me, like that whole emo and scene, as in the music scene, not the scene. If you know what I mean, scene girls and that.
Yeah.
When that was like big, especially around here, there was a big problem with like unpleasant chaps, should we say, within that group.
Yeah.
I think that I've always had that impression with like CW stuff. It's almost like when there are teenager girls involved, and there's some unpleasant fellas involved as well. So.
Well, and it's crazy because like the one creator of One Tree Hill, he kind of pit the girls on his show against each other to like manipulate them.
Right.
So just very interesting stuff.
It's a basketball one, isn't it? With
yeah.
Curly blondie girl.
Yeah, I think
I know the why I first watched that. I just go, oh yeah, that's the basketball one.
Yeah.
That's how I know it.
I think of Chad Michael Murray just because
that's the fella.
He's the fella, yeah. He was like the hottest shit back in the day, and he apparently wasn't entirely drama free. He wasn't like a bad guy or anything, necessarily. Right. Just typical dumb, and you think you're hot, so you're gonna do what you want type stuff, like cheating. But, yeah.
Who's better, him or Dawson?
Him.
Fair enough.
Him.
I've never watched either, so I have no frame. I do like in the basketball one is the chick with the like she smoked 1,000 cigarettes. She's a babe. It's me.
They really do. It's the Smoker Boys, not the Smoker Boys. Yeah, no, they hired like straight up like babes on the CW though.
Yeah, she's a mega fox.
Like all of them are. It's incredible. But
I wonder if that's like part of their ploy, because like it's kind of interesting because the way I see it, it's with a lot of these shows, people like beautiful people.
Yeah.
Full stop. So it's whether it's girls or boys, they want to see beautiful people. They don't want to see like these weird folk that we get nowadays. So
schlubby people, yeah.
Look at Buffy. Look at Roswell, the basketball one, Dawson's Creek. It's all beautiful people constantly.
Yeah. Well,
I guess even like the original 90, 102, 103, 04.
789.
420.
Yeah. Blaze it. No. That was kind of like part of their ploy, and especially like with One Tree Hill, they kind of abused the fact that the actors and actresses were so young. Like they're still in their 20s and such, but they're like making them do like bikini shoots and shirtless shoots and if you're the guys and stuff like that. And so a lot of them came out as adults, and we're like, yeah, this really made us uncomfortable, but what can we do about it? The creator was threatening us, so like, you know, not like with bodily harm, but like with.
It's a tricky one, isn't it? If you do something for money and then later regret it, you know, you can. Fundamentally, it's no problem.
Yeah.
Regretting something as you get older, you know, I certainly have. Where when I was 20, I was a right snotty little punk, and I've said a few times, like, if 20-year-old me met me now, like, he'd probably take a swing at me, call me a sellout. So you know, people do grow up and change, but fundamentally, at the end of the day, if you're 18 or 20 or whatever, however old these people were, and they made a fortune out of it, I'm sure, you know, I'm sure I've read that like the cast of Friends were making over $1 million per episode.
Yeah.
How many seasons of that was there? You're making 20 million
a year,
a season. It's mad. It's complete. So I'm not saying that Chad Michael Murray was making 20 million, but let's call it still a couple million. You know, it's I don't know. And it's similar with Joss Whedon as well. Like, I'm sure there's truth behind a lot of the allegations, but also at 18, you're cognizant enough to make your own decisions.
Yeah. Well, I also there's something to be said too for like the threatening thing, because when you're 22 and there's someone who's bigger than you and they're like, I will make your life hell, I'll get you off my show. Yeah. Like, that is terrifying. So
no doubt, especially if you're trying to make it big as well.
Yeah. Well,
and they in essence hold your career in their hand, then it must be tricky. But I mean, I guess maybe I'm just a different type of person, because I wouldn't let someone do that to me. I'd tell them to eat shit.
No, that's how I am too, and I've always been that way. But
I struggle to understand, but maybe that's just me being a bit crass. Not crass. I don't know.
For me, I wouldn't have that issue, because I'm the same way, where I'm like, I don't want to do that. Fuck off or fire me.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've always kind of been that way. But yeah, I think people really overlook the fact that the residuals they get from this show are different than the residuals from shows today, because that's one of the reasons I was listening to this lady's her videos. She was talking about that 70s show, and that's one of the reasons no like network will pick it up and no one does reruns of it, because they don't want to give Danny Masterson residuals, because he would make, if they put it on Netflix, he'd be making an extra 10 million a year. Yeah. And so, you know, Buffy and everything.
Is that why they've pulled the Ranch and that as well? Because obviously he was in that. I really enjoyed the Ranch.
Yeah.
In fact, I would argue. I mean, again, I don't know the full story behind. I know he's part of the Church of Scientology.
Yes.
So I know he's one of the kooky lot, and sure, I'm gonna get fired or fired out of the canon. But it was proven that he abused the girl, or was it the other way around, that in fact it wasn't true?
No, it was true, and it was kind of like an open secret in Hollywood, where if you were a younger actress, you just knew not to go to Danny Masterson's parties. He would throw these massive parties, and Wilmer Valderrama, and then also Ashton Kutcher would attend these parties. And so Topher Grace, like, back in the day, they kind of...
Kunis as well, because she dated Ashton Kutcher back then.
Oh yeah, she was part of it, and also, she was 14 when she started on that.
I was about to say, yeah, she had to lie about her age to join that 70s show. So,
yeah, and
even though I think she's playing a 17-year-old or something like that. I've never watched it. I like Mila Kunis.
Yeah, they wanted an 18-year-old, and so she had to lie, and she, like, her first kiss was on set doing a scene.
Right.
So
14 or 15 or whatever it was.
Yeah. And the way she talks,
that's quite creepy.
Yeah. Well, and the way she talks is like they've scrubbed a ton of interviews from that 70s show cast members because of how creepy that is now, and how people have really turned against that. Like, it's not cool anymore to be talking about how you got...
You would have laughed at it and gone, oh, yeah, well.
That makes sense. Yeah, no. Well, and like Danny Masterson bet Ashton Kutcher $20 he wouldn't stick his tongue down Mila Kunis's throat at their first kiss scene. Like that kind of stories doesn't.
Right.
It's hard to find those now.
It doesn't help each other. The only other thing I know about Danny Masterson is his brother is one of the brothers from Malcolm in the Middle. He's the curly blonde-haired one, the older brother.
And the reason why there isn't, like, you look at that 70s show and there's a lot of Scientology ties, and Danny Masterson is kind of like, he's kind of stomping his way around that set a lot. Like, he is the go-to guy on that set. He really flexes his Scientology muscles, and he gets even the girl who plays Donna to get into Church of Scientology for a while. They do performances for the Church of Scientology.
The redhead one.
Yes. And the reason why that didn't happen on Malcolm in the Middle is because Bryan Cranston really, he really was like, absolutely not. Like, he was very protective of the kids. He didn't let them get into that. He didn't let that be a thing on his set. And so, I think he's a wishy-washy, kind of a guy. Like, his politics are bullshit, except I was like, good for him on that. Like, that's...
Yeah. Well, the thing about Bryan Cranston, and you can probably apply this to a lot of actors, they can have terrible political views, but they can still be excellent actors, and this really applies to music and to really any sort of entertainment. And it's one of those tricky things where you don't want to cut your nose off to spite your face. So yes, Bryan Cranston's a prick. We all know this. He says prickish things, but he's an incredibly good actor, and he's in incredibly good shows. Malcolm in the Middle and Breaking Bad being the two prime examples I can think of. So you got to pick your battles. There's some people I just won't watch because I'm like, you're too much of a thunderous prick for me to let you off.
I can't do Brad Pitt or Angelina Jolie. Anything with them in them, I cannot do.
Interesting.
Those are like, okay. I just remember, I think probably I suffered from being a little too overexposed to the Mr. and Mrs. Smith drama, and I just remember thinking, like, what pieces of shit that you would use your movie as an excuse to break up a marriage, and like, it's one of those things where I'm like, if that's how easily you are swayed, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, well... But it's kind of like a tricky thing. So there's certainly artists, especially in the music scene, where they've done very extreme things, and like an R. Kelly type thing. But would you listen to, say, R. Kelly? I certainly wouldn't.
No, that's not my type of music anyway.
Not our type of music anyway. Yeah, sure.
So, but if
it's a tricky thing though, because like you do have to. I believe, and I wanted to have this conversation with Kegsy. Me and him were meant to do this, like 2 years ago, and the whole subject I wanted to talk about was like separating the art from the artist. And actually, I think this really heavily applies to Nick Bredon and arguably to Mr. Whedon as well. That the art can still be very good. Bryan Cranston, Nick Bredon, all these people being good examples, and even old Danny Masters, because I really enjoyed The Ranch. A bit depressing, but I thought it was a very good show. And just because they're pricks doesn't mean they can't do good art.
Yeah.
And but there is a line. There's a band called The Lost Prophets. If you know, you know. I don't really want to repeat what happened because it's really bad.
Oh.
Like really bad.
Oh.
Yeah, really, really. I wouldn't even look it up. It's like insanely bad. But I can't listen to them, and they're in the sort of like that sort of alt rocky punky sort of scene.
Yeah.
Or were. And there's like 5 other members in the band. It's a big band, but because of one person's bad actions, I literally can't listen to them. But that is like an extreme example, like really extreme.
Yeah, that's like with Joss and Nick. So one of the things she talks about is how she's been in contact, like she's been contacted by Nick Bredon's girlfriends, and they've showed her like, this is my house and this is the damage he did and da 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 da, and she's like, oh my gosh, he was in this house on this Facebook video and blah 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 blah. So she's like, I can verify it. She's saying like probably the true things. And so with him, she says, you know, one of his girlfriends expressed, like, he has no money. Like, his residuals from Buffy are gone the instant he gets them because he's so in debt with, like, the IRS. Yeah, well, just with the IRS and everything. And so he genuinely... And he also... The other thing is a lot of these actors that are on Buffy, they get money for going to conventions. And so he kind of has to take whatever he can get as far as pay and opportunity, because there are people who will protest his appearances at these conventions and get angry, and so the conventions have to kind of pick and choose, you know, is it a good time to have him, is it not, can we do it, can we get away with it, are people going to be pissed off about it? And so he really is, like, low on options as far as getting money from Buffy goes.
Which is why he's on Fiverr doing, like, shout outs for, well, I think it was $40 or something like that, because I know we're joking about getting him on shouting us out, which would be quite funny. But I mean, it's sad. What's also interesting with Nick is that I don't necessarily, from what I understand, again, I don't know anyone. From what I understand, his problems came closer to either the end of Buffy or after Buffy. That he wasn't, you know, he didn't necessarily have as much of a bad touch on set. I believe that's more of a Joss Whedon thing.
No, yeah, on set, like, everyone, like, pretty much consistently throughout the run of Buffy, you would say, you know, who's the most fun to have and work with on set, and they would say Nick Bredon.
Nick, yeah.
And so, but at the same time, even as early as, like, season 3, he's, like, his girlfriend's reporting him just, like, getting in the car, going home from work, and on the way home drinking a whole handle of tequila. Like, so his abuse problems were bad back then. He was just better at hiding it. What really switched is he broke his nose, so he couldn't do nose candy anymore. And so he started doing prescription drugs instead, and that was where he tanked.
White Pony.
Yeah.
Colombian marching powder. Gotcha. Yeah.
Yep, Colombian marching powder. Yeah. So, so that, and it's very sad because apparently he cites his root issues as being sexually abused as a kid, which,
interesting. A lot of this does seem to be the case. Whenever you hear about these people who are, like, really effed up now, that seems to be one of the big go-tos, is, like, you know, bad uncle touch, bad daddy touch, whatever it might be. It does seem to be, you know, it just follows down in the lineage. It's really sad.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
Yeah. Well, and and for me, I'm like, I get it if you're an alcoholic or a drug addict because of that. Like, I totally understand that part. But he will get he claims he blacks out at points, and then he will destroy people's property, which that I kind of understand. I can see you being so angry you do that. But he is also like he slammed his girlfriend's head into a marble shower in a hotel room. And she's like, I permanently have a dent in my head from how hard he slammed it. And so he will he will beat up on his girlfriends. And so to me, that's where I'm like, okay, you can't keep using this as an excuse anymore.
A very weak man, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's genuinely sad to hear.
Yeah.
Not so much for him. I mean, more for the girls involved. It's just. It must be tough because especially something like that where you think you're meeting you're like an idol or something like that. I imagine a lot of these people probably are Buffy fans and they're like, oh my goodness, it's Nick, isn't that cool? And then you find out actually he's a bit of a thunderous cunt.
That's literally how he gets a lot of his girlfriends, is these conventions, which is why more and more people are protesting him being at the conventions. Yeah, because they're like, he keeps getting these younger victims who don't really know, and then he charms them, and he becomes their boyfriend, and then he does this stuff to them, and he takes money from them. And so, like, yeah, it's just this, like, it's this vicious cycle that he clearly has no intention of breaking.
No, clearly not. Well, I wonder how much his added fame has added. I say fame. It's you know, in relative things. You mentioned Brad Pitt earlier. That's a name that if you walked into any town in just about any country and you said Brad Pitt, they would know who you're talking about. Whereas, you know, if you said Nick Bredon in probably any town in any country, they'd be like, who the hell?
Yeah.
So it's like a relative fame. It's all relative. But I do wonder how much that has added to his downfall. I.e., if he was just say a bricklayer or a plasterer or whatever, some blue collar worker, would he still be as effed up as he is now?
Well, and I wonder too, because like there are fans who have said like, I've been at conventions where he's watching more people line up for David or for Charisma, and he gets really upset. Like, he gets really, really mad, and his girlfriend will be there, and he will just kind of berate her and kind of take it out on her. And so then he asks them for money, and they're scared of what he's going to do to his girlfriend, so they give him money. And so he is, like you said, just a weak man, I think, because the fact that it bruises your ego that there's less people lining up for you, like, get out of town, dude. Like, come on, get over it.
I tell you what, Nick. Do you know how many people are lining up for me?
You know how many conventions I get invited to? None. But
exactly, there you go.
And it's so frustrating too, because like you said, separating the art from the artist, and so like it's very difficult because like the girl who does these videos is like, I'm old enough that I've been a fan of Buffy since it ran, and so she's like, when I lived in England, I bought tickets for this David Boreanaz meet and greet, and David just clearly did not want to be there. Like, he got helicoptered in, helicoptered out. He was supposed to do certain things, he didn't do all of them. Did not want to be there, but Nick Bredon showed up, and he was Mr. Fantastic. He's remembering fans' names, and he's talking to them, and he's, like, shaking hands, and just, like, she was like, he was the savior of that event. And she was like, the event itself, like, she was like, I found someone else talking about it on a forum, and it was such a hot mess that, like, all the stewards for that convention center fucking quit. And so, like, It was that bad of an event, yeah.
Which one was it, like, NEC or something? Birmingham NEC? Or do you not remember?
I don't remember. She talks about it in her CW video, because the one I sent you was just about... They're very interesting.
I've probably been to one of those. I've been to so many conventions, or not comic conventions, so like biking and motorbiking and car and all this sort of stuff, but they're all in like the same venues generally around the UK.
I would assume so.
I've probably been along. Yeah, it's interesting. So like that kind of makes me feel that like, yeah, it's difficult. You especially if Nick is as bad as it appears he is, then it almost detracts from the show a little bit, where because like a good example being like the Snoopy dance. That always sticks to me as like a really fun and silly thing that happens in the show, and you can't help but smile.
Yeah.
Now knowing that he's such a POS, it does detract from it. But you just have to separate the art and the artist. And again, almost every person that's on set is almost certainly like a hyper liberal, or if they're not hyper liberal, they're certainly sheepish to the point where if someone said, "Oh, XYZ, whatever Democrat talking point, or in our case Labour talking point is," they would just go, yes, that we agree with that. They wouldn't, even if they don't believe it, they would still echo like that talking point.
Yeah.
So we probably wouldn't necessarily be friends with almost any of these people, and certainly politically not aligned at all. It's a shame, really.
Yeah.
It's interesting what you said about David Boreanaz as well, because like again, he the way I've always understood it with him, he's very much like, it's a job.
Well, especially with Buffy, I think he enjoys his like SEAL team and his Bones roles much more than he did Angel. Like, there's just something about being Angel that he absolutely hated. And I think it's the brooding aspect. I think he's more of a goofy guy, and he wants to be on set being goofy and fun kind of a thing. But he just couldn't be that, obviously, because that's not Angel's character. And as you go through the later seasons of Angel, you can kind of see a shift. Like, I think that last season of Angel is really...
Yeah, when they do the puppet episode in that, like, he really starts to be a lot more goofy.
Yeah. But,
season 4 and 5.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons. I also know him and Nick Bredon supposedly got into a fist fight at a CW event.
Really?
And someone had to pull them apart. Yeah. So, and that's like alleged. There's no
Boreanaz.
Dude, for real. But that's like alleged. There's no like footage or anything. But according to witnesses, yeah, David and Nick got into it. They started swinging. They had to pull David off of Nick, and I think it had to do with Sarah Michelle Gellar because. David and Sarah did date a little bit at the beginning of Buffy, but like they never got. Yeah, they never got really serious. So
that's pretty standard with a lot of these things. When you have like your chat Michael Murray and whatever her chops was, they dated for a while. I know that, and
yeah,
the same for Dawson and whatever her face is. The one that I think she's now part of the crazy Church of Scientology as well, isn't she?
Are you? I know there's someone on Dawson's Creek who is, and I know, there's someone on Smallville, last name Mack.
I'm thinking on Smallville girl, I think.
Yeah, she was into Nexium.
No, she's the one who was in that, she was in that sex cult, the sex, MMMXM or whatever they're called.
Nexium, yeah.
Nexium, thank you.
I was like, he knows what he's talking about. Yeah, Nexium. She was in Nexium, and kind of all of her residuals went to that. I think she is still serving her sentence for that.
So she's actually in jail?
Yeah, because once they started doing the like sex ring for the leader, that was kind of like the tipping point essentially into where they're now, because they would get these typical cult fashion. They're like, we're doing this really cool supportive group, and you're like, cool. And then you get into the group and they're like, we need all this stuff from you. And then you join this specific group within the group, and like they had calorie deficit, like that was a requirement. You could only eat like 900 calories a day or something stupid. And then you had to get marked, which was fucking crazy.
Yeah, they all had the tattoos, didn't they? And, yeah. And there was also like a hot iron, I want to say, like a burnt iron mark, wasn't there?
Yeah, and it spelled out both her name, her initials, and his initials, the actual leader of the group. And then the other thing was
like a harem of like 20 girls or whatever it was.
Yeah, and the other thing was like they had to give collateral to join this group, and the collateral was things like sex tapes and nude photos and things like that. And so backing out was really difficult, but
here's a picture of my butthole. I can't leave now.
Yeah, exactly. Which, like, fuck that. Post my butthole wherever you want, dude.
No, but this is what I'm saying. This is like me, I'd be like, you fuck it, I don't give a shit. Like, someone really wants to see my picture of my butthole, then let them, like.
Dude, first of all,
your eyes are gonna suffer, not mine.
I've always been like, never ever give anyone nudes ever, because you just never know what they're gonna do with them. Like, I don't care if it's your boyfriend or your fiance.
It's an age thing for us because like I grew up. I mean, we had mobile phones. Don't get me wrong. My first phone was a Sony Ericsson T. I think it was like a T24, something like that, and had one line. So I'm about 18, 19 at the time, and you literally had like one LCD with a line, and to type out a text took forever. One was T9, and two, you only had, say, maximum of like 3 words that you would have on the screen at any given time. So if you had a typo or you need to read it through, you had to like hold the arrow to go back through it. So there was no MMS in when I was 18 or something, whatever. So at the point, let's say I would have done nudies, I was way too old for it, and I had like a phone that could barely do it. So I think it's a bit of an age thing where I've just never had. Well, why would I do that? It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that started being a thing when I was a teenager, but first of all, I was like, that's so stupid, because they can do whatever the fuck they want with your nudes. Why are you dumb?
Yeah, once it's gone, that's it. It's gone.
Yeah, and so I was always of that mindset of protect yourself, stupid. And then I grew up and my friends all had iPhones, but I had like the NV2. Like, I just couldn't afford an iPhone, and I lived in my hometown, so I was like, I don't really need an iPhone, because, like, a lot of the functions on there are either social media, which I don't fucking need, or,
gaming or whatever.
It's whatever it might be. GPS, and I'm like, I know where to go, it's my hometown, so, like, you just tell me where you live, I'll find it, like, it's not a big deal, you know what I'm saying? So Yeah, like I didn't have any of those issues growing up. No Snapchat started being a thing when I was a senior in high school, and I was just like, I don't understand the point of it. Like, why am I going to take photos of myself and send
Yeah,
them to you?
well, it's like TikTok and that for me. I'm such a not boomer age, but I am definitely like if you said okay boomer, like it'd be a fair thing because like TikTok, I'm just like I don't fucking get it. It's the same with like YouTube Shorts. I'm like, fuck, can I not watch especially when it's like edited really badly,
Yeah.
and you've got like 20 seconds or something. It's like, no, actually, I want to have context to what's going on here. It really irritates me. And the other thing that irritates me, phones. Fucking hell! Why does everyone like, especially like I'm saying all this, but I've been watching like fucking slum fights on Twitter because it just came up in my feed and I kind of got stuck in a bit of a rabbit hole.
Oh yeah.
Why does everyone hold their phone vertically? What is so difficult about putting horizontal so you can actually have a full frame photo?
Yeah.
People are retarded. Like it's mad. It drives me absolutely bonkers. Just hold your phone the right way so we can actually get everything in frame.
That's my mom was FaceTiming my niece literally yesterday, and I was like, hold it sideways, and she's like, but then like my photo of her gets smaller, and I was like, yeah, but she can't see both of us, and she's trying to see both of us.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
If everyone held it the right way, then it wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. Okay, that's very much an okay boomer moment there.
I feel that though.
So should we actually talk about some Buffy?
Yes. I was
just
rabbit holing forever.
Rabbit holing, yeah, with how bad the world is. Where were we? We are on Halloween, Lie to Me, Dark Age, What's My Line? We're going to try and get through a few.
Yeah.
It's going to be... my time's a little bit limited this evening. Unfortunately, the wifey and the baby have not been feeling particularly well. They've both got a bit of a... It's not actually all that bad, a bit of a cold. So that's who's been texting me. So I'm just making sure they're okay.
Well, at least it's not that bad. But yeah, that's understandable.
No. It was worse on Sunday.
Oh.
Bless them. So
hopefully they're on the uptick then.
I managed. Well, this is the one problem because I've got quite a big not directly family, it was a small family in the like the direct sense of me, wife, and the baby, but like the extended family is very big, lots of children and so on. So the problem is like we'll meet up at the weekend and someone will have a cold or a stomach bug or something, and it just does the rounds. So it's one of the problems with having a big family.
Oh yeah. Totally understand that.
Halloween. Let's get into arguably one of the most fun episodes of the season.
Oh yeah, it's so much fun. I also forget that this really is like there's the moment at the end where like Willow gets her confidence and walks right in front of Oz's van, and he's just like, "Who is that girl?"
Who's that girl?
It's one of my favorite moments. Like,
what's really nice about Halloween, there's a lot of throwbacks or starts of future like references. So Ethan Rain shows up. He shows up again a few times. He becomes a bit of a background villain, shall we say. There's also the setup with Xander being a soldier, and that comes into play closer to the end of the season.
Yeah.
And of course Willow and the Oz thing. So he I can't even think which episode it is now. I think it's episode 1 of season 2. When she's dressed as a Inuit, he says, "Who's that girl?" And then again, "Who's that girl?" So there's a lot of these like very subtle throwbacks or setups for the forward. Really well done episode. The premise is super simple. Ethan Rain's this baddie who opens up a shop and he's selling trick or treat costumes. Obviously, the one thing that's mildly interesting, we do trick or treating in the UK, but it's nothing like it is in the US. Like it's a kind of a shame because I genuinely enjoy Halloween, but it's just not that big of a thing here, sadly. Like we'll go pumpkin picking and so on, but it's nowhere near as big as you guys do, which is it's a shame.
Well, and I would say like it's gotten a bit smaller over the years. Like when I was a kid, you would like my mom has this story about me as like a 3-year-old running up to Freddy Krueger and taking candy from his claw hands. And these guys had their whole yard decorated. They had their garage, they opened it up and it looked like a butcher shop in there, and they would have soundtrack playing of like screaming and chainsaws. And the 3 of them were like college guys who all roomed together in this house. And so one of them would dress up as Freddy Krueger, and he was the one closest to the house, and he had the candy, like full-size candy bars in his claw hand, but kids had to be brave enough to take it from his claw hand. and then there was Pinhead and Jason also stalking the yard, so you had to get past Pinhead and Jason and take candy from Freddy Krueger's claw hand. And me, the 3-year-old, I did that. And my older brother would not even go on this block because he was so terrified.
Hellraiser?
Yeah, Hellraiser. And my mom was like, I really need to teach this kid stranger danger like yesterday, dude, because what the fuck? But like stuff like that doesn't really happen anymore because a lot of people are concerned with like traumatizing kids. And like for me, like I loved that shit as a kid. Like I always have. Like I was just, you just get wired different, I guess. I don't know. And my older brother was like, he wouldn't even go down that street. Like that freaked him out. Just the idea of going down that street. And so, a lot of people have kind of catered to those, I don't know, to me it's like the mamby-pamby older kids, and then a lot of people who like it either don't have time for it or they just don't want to do it. I think it depends on what neighborhoods you go to. My boss, when I was a nanny, she loved Halloween, and so she hired a decorator to decorate her house every year, and it was never scary decorated, it was just good decorations. She would do like themes. So one year the theme would be skeletons, and so we'd have skeletons everywhere. And then one year it'd be Nightmare Before Christmas, and so it was just it was very cool. But not many people do it like that anymore. They just don't.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
I mean, I do remember like as a kid, we would go trick or treating, and there's like this. I don't know if it's the same for you. There tends to be a rule because some people are just like killjoys. So it was like if the porch lights are on, it's okay to trick or treat.
Yep.
If they're not, then don't go bother them, which is such a shame. It's like such killjoys about it all. I do remember doing it a bit as a kid. Well, I say kid, like probably more young teenager. But that it doesn't really happen now, and it's a real shame. Like every year, so like I'll put on the lights, I'll put stuff out, and we'll go and buy sweets. And for the last I'd say 5 years we haven't had anyone trick or treat.
That's crazy. And
we buy sweets every time, and we don't have with like a big bucket of sweets that we have to eat. Such a shame.
Damn, all this fucking candy.
Well, no, it is because like
Logic keeps buying progressively more every year.
But yeah, so going back, Ethan Rain has this shop where you can buy costumes, and like I said, alluded to earlier, Xander picks a G.I. Joe thing.
Buffy picks, like, very notably, she picks this, like, Victorian era dress, because she's like, this is probably Angel's era, where he was a teenager, and so she wanted to, like, be like the girls he would have seen. Angel. And and so like I love this episode because even just like the premise of it is so fun, and Ethan Rain is one of my favorite reoccurring villains because he's a
very good villain.
He's not like a bad guy, he's just chaotic as fuck, which he even worships the god of chaos. Like that's his like thing, is worshiping the god of chaos. So he's not like here to kill people per se, like if it happens whatever, but like he's mostly just here to cause chaos, which I kind of love.
But again, this sort of goes back to when the best villains tend to be those who are like human with like a dark side, opposed to a werewolf. A werewolf is a werewolf. It will eat and tear and so forth. You know, there's nothing you can do about that. Fundamentally, it's an animal. And that's why having someone like Ethan Rain, like a chaotic human, is so much more, for me, is so much more interesting.
Same here, yeah. And I think too, like he's played so well. Like he's kind of a guy you want to slap, but at the same time you want to laugh with him. Like you're like, I'd get a drink with that guy, but also maybe not.
I'd go with him for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, and of course Ripper, as we find out, we get. I think this is the first time we get the hint of Giles's past, and
Yep.
That slowly builds up, and it becomes quite interesting, and actually plays kind of a major-ish role later on.
Yeah, because he's got like, it's so funny to me because like Giles has like, I was watching the witch episode. I'm making my mom watch Buffy with me. She's been sick, so I always give her something to watch because she gets bored in bed. And so she's been watching Buffy,
Yes.
and she's been really enjoying it. And rewatching the witch episode with her, I was just like, it's so funny how Giles is like, oh, witchcraft? I've never done this before. Shut the fuck up, Giles. You fucking liar. You shut the hell up. Like,
this is part of the problem with like rewatching. You notice silly things like that where they're just finding their feet, and you know, some stories contradict statements or earlier episodes, but
well, I think it's totally fine though, because like in this episode, like Giles is clearly like trying to hide his past, and so I'm like, it makes sense in that one that nobody calls him out because like nobody knows. But then Ethan Rayne's like, oh, okay, Ripper, and he's like, you shut your goddamn mouth right now or I'll rip your tongue out, kind of a thing. And he's like, oh.
Yeah. Well, he's reformed, and he's trying to move ahead. So like, if someone was to come up to me and go, oh, weren't you that punk that grew up around here? I'd be like, fuck off, leave me alone. Like, I've moved on from that, you know. Like, it's people are allowed to grow, so it's an interesting thing.
That's
but like you said, yeah, Ethan's worshiping the god of chaos. And then the other sort of addendum, of course, is that Schneider sets I think all of the Scooby Gang up with kids.
Yep.
So they all have they all have a group of kids. And that's actually one of my favorite scenes, is when the switchover happens. So what? Oh, I was jumping ahead a bit. So the chaos bit is where the costumes that they're wearing, they become that thing. So Willow is a ghost. Xander, super soldier. Buffy becomes this dainty, 1800s princessy type.
Yep.
And my favorite is the granny with the little goblins. Oh, what are you, little goblin? And then he switches. It's just wonderfully done with this little. I don't know if it was with a midget or with a child actor going ham at the camera. It's great fun.
And then I love Spike just like, oh, this is so interesting. And he's like, this is fun.
For 1 second.
Oh yeah. No, Spike really like enjoys this episode, which I love, because Spike is such a chaotic, like, he's just a chaotic being in and of himself, so he's just here to have a good time at this point. Yeah, I think like Sarah Michelle Gellar does such a good job of like being that dainty 1800 Victorian era girl.
Yeah,
because she just
they all
it's so
do their role quite well.
Yeah. And Xander, like, it's funny because, like, for Xander and Buffy, they both get a mental reset. So they truly believe they are the person they're saying they are. They have knowledge that they would not have previously had about, like, what they're supposed to be, like, who they're supposed to be. And then they don't remember slaying, they don't remember Sunnydale. Like, none of that really, like, clicks with them. And so Willow is like, no, guys, we're all friends. We have to stick together.
Just in a slutty dress and a ghost, well, as a ghost. It's a really fun episode.
Yeah.
Arguably, there's very little I can complain about. You have Drusilla and Spike in it, which again, them sort of running around and enjoying the chaos is great. I don't really have any complaints. It's just a fun episode.
Yeah, same. Like, and it does good setup for like I love that this is a quote unquote like throwaway Monster of the Week episode, but it still comes back. So like I love that. Like when writers can do things like that, I'm like, good.
Yeah, re-referencing, going.
You.
I remember being a soldier. I remember these bits, and it's just. Again, that's like a great example of superb writing opposed to sort of throwaway guff.
Yeah.
I only really have good things to say. There was one other. Oh, the other thing I was going to mention, Cordelia. I loved that Cordelia didn't go to the new shop. She had to go to a better shop. So Cordelia is unaffected by the change because she didn't go to Ethan Rayne's shop. So she kind of her and Willow become our everymen for the episode. We're almost seeing it mostly through Willow's eye, because she's the one who's going around to like Giles and that. And it's wonderfully done, where she's like walking through walls. Well, why would I go through a door if I'm a ghost? I'm just going to walk through walls and get to where I need to quickly.
Yeah. And then Angel shows up too, and he's like so fucking annoyed with this new Buffy, which I think is so funny, because it proves like Angel's not here for like Buffy's looks per se. He likes Buffy's personality, clearly, and he likes that she's a take care of myself, kick-ass kind of girl. So like I like that confirmation of his character, because a lot of people have a problem with Angel and Buffy's relationships now because of how quote-unquote old he is, but I'm like, if you watch the show, he kind of doesn't develop as an adult really ever. Like, until he meets Buffy. No. So
it's actually a really good point, because obviously as Liam, he's meant to be 17, 18 when he dies. So, you know, it's I think we've discussed this before. It is an interesting thought that it's probably meant to be that he is functionally a 17-year-old, not a 258-year-old. And it also brings into the question, let's say you were like 6 or 8 or whatever, and you were turned into a vampire. You know, would you functionally be an 80-year-old, or if you survived 300 years, would you be 300 years old? Like,
well, and you kind of wonder, because like the Anointed One, he kind of acts more mature. So I think it just kind of... But he's also being mentored by the Master. And so I think it depends on who you were previously. And just like, because like that really does play a part in who you become as a vampire. Like if you look at Spike and Drew.
Which is why, I was about to say, Spike and Drew are so much more, especially Drew, because she's driven completely insane by Angel.
Yeah.
And so she's just completely batshit off the reservation. It's great. The problem is with like Drew's character in the hands of a lesser actress would be really hammy and goofy, because it's actually if you start to really think about it, it's actually quite a sensitive subject. Like, he mentally abuses her completely, and in the hands of a lesser actress, it would come across really hammy and frankly dumb. But Juliet Landau just executes it wonderfully.
Yeah, I never felt that way when she like even my first watch through, like you just don't feel that way when she's being Drew. No. You're like, it's such a believable performance, and then outstanding, like just so good.
So the first, we're jumping a little bit ahead of, or I'm jumping a little bit ahead of ourselves. The first time I felt that someone was quite hammy and just really didn't work for me was Adam.
Yeah. Yeah.
And basically the whole time, so this is season 4, the whole time Adam's around, I really struggle with, and I don't think it's the actor's fault. I think the whole premise is goofy.
Yeah.
And actually, I would argue Riley as well, but that's because I have got nothing against the actor as a human being. I just don't like his acting as Riley. He's too wet. He's meant to be like this hard army, you know. I think he's even like the staff sergeant or whatever. You know, he's meant to be in charge of his platoon, for lack of words. I'm not army brat, so I don't know the correct terminology. So I apologize, anyone. But as far as I understand, he's like in charge of his boys.
Yeah.
And he's just wet and completely unbelievable. And then Adams is the big bad, who's just quite honestly goofy.
Yeah, I don't like. I think Adam's storyline could have been done better. I think the doctor behind Adam, I think she's kind of like in charge of the platoon as well.
Of Riley and them. Yeah.
I think she makes a better villain for that season, really.
She does.
I think
she absolutely does.
If she was the ultimate big bad of that season, I'd A, believe it, and B, be into it. Like, I'd be like, oh, okay, because she does an excellent job in her role. Like, I haven't even gotten there in my rewatching, but I just remember her being so, like, her vibes were really good. Like, the way she portrays the character, and she just has, like, really sinister undertones, even from the moment you meet her. Like, I'm just like, that bitch, you can't trust her.
And again, I think this goes back to what I keep saying. She's just a human lady with somewhat ill intentions. Well, you could argue they're good intentions, but just executed,
Piss poor.
very, very poorly.
Yeah.
So, from that point of view, it's a far more interesting story where it's like, actually, well, I want the world to be safe, but I'm going to take away everyone's freedom by doing this, basically.
Yeah.
So that's a far more interesting story than, a robot, whatever man that Adam's meant to be. It's just. But you could argue, like, if he was controlled, and if it was almost like a super soldier, sort of like a twist on Captain America, and like, okay, it's a super soldier, but like done with a bad person, and that super soldier is under the control, which it kind of is. I know he's meant to sort of be a super soldier because obviously he's controlled by the army, but there's too much of a Frankenstein's monster twist on it when it just doesn't need it, quite honestly.
Yeah, like if they had made him, like, he even has like some cyber parts, so I'm like, make him a robot instead, or like it just doesn't make sense to me that, yeah, he's not, like, to me he's not a very threatening big bad, because I'm like, pull a judge on him and just go get another rocket launcher. Like, I don't understand why you don't just do that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
just blow him up. Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, but
and this is a problem that a lot of movies and shows have, is as they progress, and Marvel's is particularly bad for this, is where here's the next big bad. Okay, well, he's going to blow up the Earth. The next bad, he's going to blow up the solar system. The next bad, oh, he's going to blow up the universe. Okay, well, what can we do beyond that? Well, there's multiverses, and he's going to kill all the multiverses. Well, hold on, you're now just like, it's getting goofier and goofier. And you keep having to suspend disbelief further and further, and it's a little bit the same with Buffy. Like, each season, the next big bad has to be bigger and badder than before.
I feel like, too, like, at a certain point, you're like, okay, the world can only be ending so many times for me to just get over it. Like,
yeah, we'll just stop, just end the world. We're done.
Yeah.
But again, this is why I think season 2 is so good, because season 1, strictly speaking, has a bigger bad. The Master is more big bad than Angel is.
Yeah.
Angel's more personal, because obviously how close they get. This is obviously spoiling. We're now like well into spoilers of season 2, but Angel fundamentally Angelus is fundamentally the big bad of season 2.
Yeah. Well,
and it's done so much better because of how personal it is.
That's exactly
it. And then season 3, the big bad's Mayor. And you don't even really... I mean, you do see him from season 2. No, you don't. You hear of him from season 2, but you don't see him till like early season 3. And even then, he's just a quirky, weird, normal guy until shit really kicks off. So,
well, and I think too, the reason why he also works as the big bad for season 3 is because he gets Faith on his side. And at the point he gets Faith on his side, you like her.
Yeah, there's an argument that Faith is the big bad for... She's arguably the big bad for longer than the Mayor is, because there's more one-on-one interaction with those two, because the Mayor's, like, he's controlling Snyder, he's controlling all these people from the back end. So... Yeah, it's interesting. I think I think that's why it works so well, these early seasons. And also that even applies to Angel. The big bad really all the way through Angel is Wolfram and Hart. There's individuals that are bad, like Lindsay and what's the lady's name now?
Lindsay. What a dumb fucking name for a guy.
I love Lindsay as he's such a good actor. He's one of my favorites from from Angel.
He really is like he's such a good character, and then he's acted so
He
well.
is.
But every time they're like Lindsay, I'm like, what a dumb fucking name.
It is a dumb name, and actually, Angel takes a piss out of his name a few times. I really enjoy that.
Yeah.
But my favorite episode with that is where Angel chops off his arm when he's trying to do some sort of thing, and Wolfram and Hart give him a new arm, and like his arm's possessed. It's a fun episode, but he plays guitar and sings in that, and the actor is actually a really, really good country and western singer, like really good. He's well worth having a listen. So, yeah, so that's actually him singing and guitaring.
Crazy.
So yeah, Lindsay's actually like a legit musician, similar to James Masters.
Just these hyper talented people up in this show just casually.
Way too talented. But yeah, so when he does it on Angel, it's probably season 2, maybe 3 is when that all happens, when he loses his arm.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen to it, and that's actually him. And again, there's another one of those in jokes that I really enjoy, because I think it's even maybe mentioned in Angel where Angel's in Buffy, where Angel's a big fan of Mandy, and there's this like ongoing joke where he has to sing Mandy or the hits of Burt Bacharach.
That's funny.
It's great. It's such a nice little in joke. I really enjoy it.
That's good. I love when they do stuff like that. Anyway, so Lie to Me is the next episode. Is there anything else that we missed from Halloween?
I don't think we've really missed anything from Halloween.
I don't think so either.
I mean, it's a 9.5. I mean, it's close to a 10 because fundamentally, I can't think of anything wrong with the episode.
No.
You've got everyone that you want to be in there, minus maybe Faith, but it wouldn't make sense having Faith showing up yet.
Yeah, right. Not even Kendra, the Vampire Slayer, is here yet.
Kendra, good. It's just such a solid episode. It's amongst my favourite, maybe of all time. It's a very, very good episode.
Yeah.
Completely unskippable.
And then followed by another unskippable episode. That's like,
yes.
Oh, Lie to Me is so good.
So Lie to Me, we have discussed in the past, because I was team. What's his name now? Max from Roswell. I was kind of understanding his point of view of going, okay, he had brain cancer. Oh well, let's try and quickly do a tiny synopsis. The very like TLDR synopsis is, Max from Roswell turns up, is friends with Buffy from LA, and he has the brain cancer, but obviously doesn't reveal this yet. And he basically sets up Buffy to fail. He knows that she's the Slayer, but doesn't let this on too early, and gets into the cahoots with Spike and Drew, and in exchange for handing Buffy over, because he's such good friends with her, he can trick her into coming into a trap that he'll get eternal life, i.e. become a vampire. And the TLDR is it doesn't work out, and he still dies.
No.
And
he does become a vampire. Because he's like, I kept my end of the bargain. You let Buffy go.
That's right, he does.
And so Spike's like, yeah, that's true, I guess. So Spike does put him in the ground because Buffy has to stake him.
That's right. Yes. Yeah, you're right. No, I was kind of team. What is his name in it now? I'm gonna have a look. Ford.
Yeah, Ford.
I am team Ford or Max from Roswell. I think if I was in the Buffy world and found out I had brain cancer or whatever, and I was like, that's it, you are dead in 3 months' time, and you knew that you had a way around it, eternal life, even though it's not really going to be me, it's going to be a demon inhabiting my body, I think I'd go for it. And I think you said you were like, no, it's wrong, don't do it.
Well, I would like
I think so.
I think I would be more of a Spike, where I'm like just a chaotic neutral. Like sometimes I'm doing bad things, right. Sometimes I'm doing okay things. But so like I wouldn't fear too much for me like going after my own family, because Angelus does that. He goes after his own family and kills his whole fucking family once it becomes a vampire. But I I wouldn't be afraid of that so much. I just don't think I don't like the idea of being possessed by something else. So like I don't know if I would or not. I would go seek out the vampires to be like, for sure kill me, cuz like I don't want to I don't want to have like I totally understand Ford's point of like my brain is slowly being liquidated by this tumor and I'm going to start losing function.
Word for word what he says.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm going to start losing my functionality. I'm going to start drooling on myself, basically. I'm going to start pissing myself, and I'm going to be stuck in a hospital bed in my last days, unable to do anything for myself. They're going to have to tube feed me, and it's going to be this long, painful process.
Yeah.
And it's just like, holy fuck. Like, and the speech he gives is mind-blowing.
It's really powerful.
It guts you. You're like, yeah, I get your point, dude. But Buffy is like, even so, like, you have a choice here, and you're gonna kill me and all these people to get what you want. You're gonna do horrible things to other people to save yourself. Like, that's shithouse. And she ends up like, I can't help you with this, I can't support that. And so, when Spike shows up, she grabs Drew and is like, I'll stake her if you don't let everybody go. Spike lets all the normies go. And then Buffy escapes, and then Ford is stuck in this basement with these vampires. And so...
Yeah.
Which
they do eventually get out. There's also, again, this much like the episode before, sets up a character that does reoccur. Now, I know her as Anne in Angel. And she shows up in this is now going to get complicated, but she does show up in the episode called Anne, where she takes the name from Buffy, who's calling herself Anne, but she's got a really goofy ass name in this, like Cassandra, blah, 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 blah. Some really goofy, meant to be like vampire-y name.
Yeah.
And she keeps changing her name, and eventually she becomes certainly not a main character, but she becomes quite an interesting character in LA, where she's looking after kids. In fact, I think she knows Gunn.
Yes,
if I remember correctly. I think Gunn goes, "Oh, this is Anne who helps set me up in this outhouse."
Chanterelle is her.
Chanterelle, thank you.
Her vampire name. Then she switches it to Lily. Before all that, she's like, because she explains to Buffy in the episode, and like, oh yeah, I was Sister Sunshine in this cult. She was born as Joan, and she eventually just takes up the name Anne Steele, and that's who she is when she meets Angel.
In the Angelverse, yeah.
But she's Chanterelle in this episode.
It's really clever how they do that, because if you blink, you can miss it.
Oh yeah.
Like it's just another blonde girl, and it's done incredibly well. And I particularly, I think having, this is gonna make me sound mental. Having Jason Burr, whatever his name is, Maximilian from Roswell, he's a very handsome chap.
Yeah.
And having like a handsome chap who there's an ego part of him that's going through, like, I've got my youth and all that, and he's going to lose everything. I think that helps deliver the like, certainly for him, how severe it is, because he's probably got it on easy mode compared to anyone more than ever, and I think it adds to the gravitas of it all.
Yeah.
I like Jason Burr as an actor. I think he's a little bit one note, because he comes across a little bit like Max. He kind of just does this sort of teenage floppy hair thing.
Yeah. I was like, I hate his hair for him.
Yeah. He does the same thing. He does it in Roswell as well.
Crazy. But I do love it's again that thing of like humans being the big bad, where like and Ford, like when he explains why he's doing what he's doing, it just really emotionally complicates things further. And I love that about Buffy, that it's like, let's make a sticky situation, and then at the end, like, she gives him no time as a vampire. Basically, he pops up, she stakes him, he's gone.
Pops on the ground, yeah.
And then
I think it's like literally the last scene, isn't it, where he.
Yeah.
He sticks out.
And she's there with Giles, and so they, she's walking away, and she's like, tell me it gets better, and this is kind of where,
Lie to me.
The episode name is, lie to me. She tells him, lie to me, and so he's like, life gets so much easier. Everything is so, the bad guys are the bad guys and the good guys are the good guys, and everything is black and white and everything is easy, and it's just so like being an adult just makes your life so much easier. It's so much easier to tell what's right from wrong, and you can just do everything you need to do without any effort. And she's like, liar. So like
last line of the episode. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's what makes this episode good is that it's about the 7th time I've mentioned it, but the having Ford being just a complex human character, not a werewolf, not an animal for lack of a better word. He's a complex human with complex emotions going through something that is absolutely gut-wrenching, and sadly, we're gonna have to. We'll probably go through it at some point in our lives, a loved one or yourself or whatever it might be, and it's what would you do in this world? And it's a really good question. The only thing I would maybe deduct half a point of is I don't feel like they go into the complexity of it quite enough. I think yes, he does a really good monologue, but I feel like Buffy sort of just goes, that's not acceptable, that's still bad, and that's it. It's like, no, you're wrong, done.
Well,
like arguably she's right. There is no moral ambiguity to it, would argue. But I think it would have made it more interesting to have, not that I really wanted like a 10-minute diatribe between the two of them, but I think that would have been just a little bit more depth to it, a little bit more, digging into the complexity of it all. Well,
and I think my biggest issue is how quickly she says, well, that's not right. Like, even for me, like, I'm a Gryffindor. Gryffindor's thing is, like, do the right thing, right? You have to be brave in order to do the right thing, which is why Gryffindors are bravery, blah, blah, blah. But, like, she is just, like, even as that's kind of my motivation in life of, like, you have to do the right thing, I'm like, she really reached that conclusion way fucking fast. Like, yeah, she's not wrong, but she doesn't, like, I think it'd be better if she was like, let's look at alternatives. What else can we do for you? And like, that would make more sense to me.
The other thing about that is, because I come from quite a sort of a strict religious background, and it comes across a little bit proselyting. So when, like, someone says, okay, drinking's bad, and that's it, like there's sort of no moral ambiguity to it. It's like, well, look, when I'm 18 and I'm out with my friends, I'm going to be tempted to drink, I'm going to be tempted to do all these sort of things, as a teenager does, and that's like, I've become more religious as I've gotten older, but but when you're that young and confused and all that, it really bothers me when it's like, this is wrong, end of discussion, we're not going to explore it any further. And I think that maybe there's a part of me, because of my sort of strict religious background, that I sort of go, maybe question authority is maybe the way I'd say it.
Yeah. And I've always found, like, if you're not questioning what you're being taught, you don't actually believe it. Like, there's no room for belief.
Sure.
And so when something happens, you're shaky because you don't actually believe it. You've just been fed it. And so...
Yeah,
it's
I think that's what makes someone much stronger, is if you question it, go away. Let's say, I'm just talking about like religion in general, but if you question it, go away from it and then come back to it later on, you're probably going to be stronger for it.
Oh yeah.
Whereas if you just like stayed and was just like, well, I've never questioned anything, then you're arguably not going to be stronger for it, because you're just sort of following the doctrine for lack of a better term. But anyways, we sort of I'm dragging it away, but from here, one of probably my favourite scene in terms of funny is when they go into the vampire layer, the fake vampire layer. I don't know what you want to call them, like the vampire following cult.
Yeah, the cult.
And they go, oh yeah, like there's a joke about how badly dressed they are, and one of them walks past dressed exactly like Angel. I love it. And again, it's another one of those ones where you could blink and miss it, sort of thing.
Yep. It is.
So just taking the piss.
Yeah, it's such a funny, like, low blow to poor Angel, who's like
poor Angel for no reason.
He's like here to help them and catches this stray in this episode.
Yes, he stood there. There's a guy who's dressed exactly like him, looking him up and down.
So good.
It's just wonderful. It's a nice little touch.
Yeah.
It's a really solid episode, and of course Jenny's in it, and anything with Jenny and Drew and Spike is good in my books.
Oh yeah. And you really gotta savor the Miss Calendar episodes, man, because there's not that many of them.
Not many left, sadly. I was again jumping ahead with a bit of spoilering. I was shocked at how quickly her. I mean, I'm sure everyone here knows she dies. Comes about because I was watching that episode like 3 nights ago, and the wife goes, "Oh, this is the episode Jenny dies," and I was like, "No, it's not. I don't think that's quite yet. It's later on." Even though it was like already setting up, I was like, "Shit, I think she's right. I think it is." And like 10 minutes later, she's dead. I was like, "Fuck! I completely got it wrong. I thought she was around for a bit longer."
Yeah.
But yeah, very sadly, she's. I was a bit surprised. She's gone. She's gone in the blink of an eye.
Well, and I think too, like the actress for Jenny Calendar, who's very based. Shout out to her. She is like she does such a good job of making Jenny such a like, and the writers too, of course. But like she becomes such a like vital feeling part of the Scooby Gang, and like you really want her and poor Giles to work out, and then yeah, the rug gets ripped out right from underneath you, and you're like, holy shit, dude.
So the only thing I would argue with that is that again, we'll probably be discussing this in like a week or two's time, but when she dies and Giles goes off the deep end, it's I feel it's a little extreme, because there's a lot of flirtation and nothing really comes from it. They're clearly into each other, but he really goes.
No, they
the deep end.
They date for a while, but because of what happens with Angel,
yeah, he calls it off. He does call it off, sure.
And so I think for Giles it's a mixture of I really liked her, and then also like being older, you don't have a lot of opportunity to organically meet beautiful, wonderful people your age who are interested in you and who you also are interested in. And then on top of all of that, he gave up this opportunity with Jenny for Buffy's sake. And then it's now that he's getting an opportunity possibly to take up this opportunity again, it's ripped out from under him, so he has no choice. And so and it's not even like, oh, Angel goes and ruins their relationship. No, he goes and he kills the other person involved, which effectively ruins it. But
again, jumping well ahead, when that scene with the camera panning up with her laying on the bed with all the like the setup, how he entices Giles in thinking that to be completely crass, Giles thinks he's going to get some, and it's all set up wonderfully. And then there's that scene where the camera locks on her and she's just completely vacant in the eyes. I was borderline about to cry. I swear, it's so well done.
It's a gut punch,
amazing,
dude.
Amazing. It's a pro gut punch. I was actually a little bit shocked at how
dark it was.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just so fucked up. And it's so funny because like as a watcher, you see he comes in and there's roses and you're like, oh god, no. Yeah. And then sure as shit, and you're like, fuck you, Angelus, you dickhead. Like, Jesus.
But it also shows how brutal Angelus is. So.
Yeah, it's a great. Yeah, we'll talk about it more, but yeah, it's just such a.
We are jumping well ahead because it's still Angel right now. It's not even Angelus yet.
Yeah, so we've got the Dark Age next, which is.
Well, I was going to just say, Lie to Me I'd say it's a 9. I don't think it's quite a 10. There's I just wish they kind of worked on that a little bit more. That's the only thing I would argue.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it would, like, if there was a whole, like a thing between the two of them talking for 5 minutes, maybe it wouldn't have worked. Maybe the flow would have been all screwy. Maybe they cut it. Maybe it does exist somewhere where, Buffy is sort of talking about it a bit more and not being so sort of one note about it. But that's literally my only complaint. I think it's a very good other.
I think I definitely also, like, now that we've talked about it, I think I would have liked for her, because at the time I was like, wow, that's kind of impressive that she's just so like, yeah, no, fuck that. Which I would not have said that to my 5th grade crush, which he was my 6th grade crush. But if my 6th grade crush came to me and was like, look, I'm selling you out to these vampires because I have a tumor liquidating my brain, I'd be like, okay, well, maybe let's, like, find alternatives. Like, I know a lady who does magic. Like, we can maybe try that. Like, we don't have to do this, dude. Like, that would kind of be my thing.
The only other thing is as well, like we sort of, well, I'm misquoted, but you pointed out that she does like one shot forward as he comes out of the ground. Like if that was again your 5th grade whatever crush, would you so easily be able to do that, or do you have to do it as a one shot? Because if you try and talk to him or whatever, then the emotions might take over. So is doing the one shot easier, or is it
yeah, the one shot, I would have to one shot him. I would not be able to dialogue with him, none of that. It would crush me. Like if I were in Buffy's shoes, that's my 5th grade crush. Like I know how I felt about my 5th grade crush. Like as at Buffy's age, like absolutely fucking not, dude. Like I would have to one shot that guy. Because the thing about my 5th grade crush is like I didn't handle crushes very well back then, and I had 2, and both of them were kind of like very difficult for me for a lot of reasons. But he was so easily able to manipulate me. Like if I talk to him at all, he's not getting staked. Like that's just not happening. He's gonna get free and he's gonna murder a whole bunch of people, and I'm gonna be like, I can't do anything about it, dude. Like every time I try, it doesn't work for me. So like, yeah, no, the one-shotting would have to happen, because like it just wouldn't.
That's an interesting thought. Yeah.
And that's a good point. I didn't think about that, but I'm like, because like I just figured like she just wants to get it over with, but I'm like, the other thing could probably be, maybe she could be talked out of it. Like, I certainly would have been talked out of it if it were my young crush. So that's a very interesting and good point.
I think the one shot kind of makes sense. So like a 9 out of 10 for me.
Yeah.
So the last episode, because I'm gonna have to disappear in sort of 20 minutes or so. We're gonna was the Dark Age, which almost immediately we got Ethan Rayne back.
Yeah.
Who's again he's another force for chaos in this episode. Do you want to do a quick synopsis?
Yeah. So Dark Age, basically, Giles is being haunted by his past. Him and his friends summoned Igon, this demon that would take over them, and it's basically like, it's a metaphor for doing drugs. So this demon would take over their body, they'd get this immense high, and they would all kind of like take turns doing it and watch each other, so that when Igon took their body, it wouldn't be like a permanent thing. But
control.
Unfortunately, because they summoned Igon, it is going to eventually be a permanent thing. Like, they just can't escape the consequences of it. And so one by one, Igon is hunting and killing the members of Giles' old crew that he used to run with. And so
we just had a power cut.
Oh,
I've got a UPS. Yeah, it's fine. I've got a UPS, so everything's going to run off. Oh, there goes the power. Yeah, the power's going on and off. Thankfully, I got a UPS on my PC and on the internet downstairs. So, and it won't die properly, but power's going in and out.
Holy shit!
One second. Is everything okay, honey? The lights are back, so I think it's okay. That's funny.
Crazy.
I mean, we are out in the sticks in the middle of nowhere, so it's not uncommon for it to. I know it sounds like it's a sex thing, but it's called a rolling brownout, so it's not like a blackout. It means like it goes up and down. I think they call it a rolling brownout.
That kind of does sound like a sex thing.
It's not a sex thing, I swear.
It's not sexy at all. It's annoying.
It's not sexy. I've got a hilarious story about that, but I cannot share it on stream. I'll tell you one day. But it's one of my favorite stories of all time. It's like you get me drunk. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna tell you the story. Anyways, sorry. Back to the synopsis.
Yeah. So Dark Age. That's basically, so like this thing can only possess, like, knocked out, unconscious people, so, like, or dead bodies. And so,
yeah, it's a bit of a zombie. It's like a twist on the zombie thing. It's kind of neat, actually. I quite like how they do it.
Yeah, it's like zombie as possession, which I think is fun. I also think possession as zombie is fun, which doesn't, like, I know those words don't make sense, but there are movies that have kind of done that. They kind of mix the possession and the zombie stuff together, which I like. Kind of a when evil lurks sort of a deal, except not horrifying, because this is Buffy the Vampire Slayer and not a horror movie. This is meant for TV. So, yeah, you get Giles kind of, like, they're like, oh, this guy died outside your door of the library last night, Giles. Do you know him? And Giles is like, yeah, I do, actually.
No.
And he tells everyone kind of like, no, but then he goes and he's like, oh my god, I'm in so much trouble, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And then poor Jenny gets possessed because she gets knocked out. He kind of liquefies from the previous victim into her, and no one really notices because, like, one of the things that I'm, like, living on the Hellmouth, you're not really sure what the fuck is happening with anything. So, like, sure. he like, kind of turns into a liquid, and then it seems like he gets absorbed in Jenny, but, like, also maybe he just dissipated. Like, you don't really know. You just go here, kind of a thing. Especially, like, this is kind of Giles' first time dealing with it, too, and everybody else. And so, I love that Ethan Rayne, he kidnaps Buffy, and because he knows he's gonna eventually, like, there's an order to things, and so he inducts Buffy into the Order of Igon, and then
so there's a process with, so everyone's got a tattoo, so, like, quite early on, it's the victim has the Eye of Aegon tattoo, and you see that Ripper has one, and so does Ethan Rayne, and so on. So that, like, you know something's tying them all together, but at this point we don't know what's going on. And it's actually Willow who does a lot of the Scooby research, and says it's not Egyptian, it's a Etruscan or something like that. I don't know my ancient history, so I apologize. And so there's this tattoo, and then when Ethan Rayne catches Buffy, he's putting the tattoo onto her, so the Eye of Aegon is turned onto her, and he burns his tattoo off so he can not be followed by.
He can hopefully escape. The wildest is like the
Eye of Aegon, not Aegon, not your American insurance company, whatever the Aegon do.
I love the reveal of, like, Giles has a tattoo, and then also, like, I was, like, watching this episode, and I was like, if I was Buffy, I'd be so fucking mad at Ethan for giving me a tattoo. Like, it's not even a cool tattoo. Get the fuck out of here, man. Yeah. Like, I'm not trying to get a tattoo. I'm 16. Leave me alone.
He says to the man with a terrible tattoo.
Yeah, for real.
That's the only tattoo I have, and so many people are like, what is it? It's like semicircles? It's like, oh, it's a band logo.
Oh, no, that's...
When I was like 17.
My older brother did a black flag tattoo for his first tattoo, and like...
Very cool.
Yeah, like, he regrets it now, because I'm like, it looks like I understand the punk rock aspect of it.
Rollins is a bit of a twat as well.
Yeah.
He's not... Yeah, he was in Black Flag, but I wouldn't consider him like Black Flag itself. Like, I'm sure he would, but he's not an original member. I'm sure you already know this. But...
Yeah, and I'm like, it, like, I was like, you should have done MXPX's logo, Blink-182's, like, they just are more inventive, where the Black Flag logo, for those who don't know, is basically like 4 solid black lines, basically.
And they're not in line, they're sort of like staggered weirdly, so.
Yeah, just like slightly too. And so I told him, I was like, it looks like someone took one of those big fat Sharpies and, like, hit your arm up.
Drew a bunch of lines on you.
Yeah, like, it just, like, and I get that it's a punk rock thing, but still, I'm like, that's so, like, pick something cooler at least. Come on, guys. But
speaking of, so obviously I've got a perfect circle tattoo on my back, which is not a perfect circle. It's just the band A Perfect Circle. Anyways, for the longest of time, and you see it a few times in season 2, I wanted to get the Angelus angel tattoo on my back right shoulder blade, just like that.
That'd have been cooler, man.
I was so close a few times. but like I said, I come from a very strict religious background, so even the crappy tattoo I've got now caused like it's just the most ridiculous fight.
I have one tattoo, and it's an anchor on my wrist, and I've always wanted it. Like, I've wanted it since I was 15 for my grandfather. And I remember when I got it, it was 2020, and I was visiting my best friend down in Florida, so I'm like 5 states away from my parents. They FaceTime me, and I was like, you know what? I'll show my mom now so she can get the fuck over it by the time I get home, because I don't want to hear about it. And she was like, that's fake. And I was like, no, it's a real. And she was like, who took you to do that? And I was like, my best friend. And she was like, I can't believe you've done this. And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go to bed. So then I wake up the next morning and my best friend's like, did something happen in your family? Like, is everyone okay? And I was like, I think so. Why? And she goes, your mom posted this thing last night, and it's like this like stock photo of this woman crying, and it's like,
no.
And it's like, mama tears on my bedroom floor tonight. Please pray for my family.
Oh wow! I mean, without being, it's similar to how my mother reacted as well.
Yeah, I was like, dude.
It's so I was just like, so what happened with me was I had to, so there was like a with the church there was like a swimming gala, like a swimming gala race, and they needed an extra person to swim, and I kept going, nah, I don't want to. I'm a relatively strong swimmer. I've been like swimming my entire life, sort of thing. And they kept going, oh, do you want to swim for us? And I was like, no, it's okay. It's like, no, but we really need someone your age and your category, and you're probably going to come in like, you know, top 3, whatever it is. And I was like, no, honestly, I'm not feeling up to it. I'm not feeling up to it. And eventually they're like, no, you've got to swim. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll swim, but you're going to see something that's going to get you very angry. So I was like, so I was desperately trying to like, no, you don't want me to swim. You don't want me to swim. And I did swim in the end. So.
And you were like, I told you didn't want me to do this. I don't know why you're mad.
So that's quite funny.
I told my mom, I was like, you need to take it down because people think someone died. I'm getting text messages. People think someone died, bro. You're so dramatic. It's just a tattoo. But yeah, Dark Age. I think it's a good episode. I think we get more Giles background. Like, we get a photo of young Giles, and like, damn,
we do. Yeah,
he's like a little. He's a little stud muffin.
Punk rocker.
Yeah,
he's a proper little punk rocker.
He's a handsome little fella.
He's obviously he would have been like around in say 60s. Yeah, probably would be 60s, 70s, and you know and it's alluded to later on with Joyce when Ethan strikes again, even and like they're going through all their record collection. There's actually I really enjoyed a line there where Joyce was like, oh, do you like whoever it was, and he's like, yeah, they're all right. It's like every musical guy, I'm exactly like that. Oh, Paul, do you like this? I'm like, yeah, they're alright. What you really want to listen to is Opeth. You want to listen to the real shit, not whatever you're telling me. You're wrong. I'm right, because musical guys are pretentious pricks. I'll fully admit it.
I love that, and then like this is really a good setup for that episode, because that episode I just watched it. It's called Band Candy, and I fucking love that episode. Like,
it's such a fun episode.
Young Giles, I'd be into Young Giles. I'm not kidding. Like 100%, I'd be like, wow, Young Giles.
Again, we're kind of jumping the gun a bit. Do you reckon? The way I saw it was, and I didn't think of this as a younger kid, but now I look at it and I think the back candy is meant to pretty much be joints. Because the way they like eating the chocolate, whilst they're like listening to music, I think they're meant to be like pretty much smoking the reefer, but it's just chocolate instead. So I think it's kind of meant to be a drug allegory, but done in a very comical way.
Well, and then like yeah, because like they really are like, they don't really act so much like they're drunk. They act like they're high. Like fucking the one teacher who's like at the bronze, and she's like, Willow, haha, that's a tree.
That's a tree.
Do they have any nachos in here, little tree? I'm like,
little tree.
why am I hurt? Like, I literally watched that and I was like, why is that me? but also
they have the perfect teacher because she's like grey haired, like sweet old nanny, like she's clearly 70s 80s sort of thing. It's like
perfect.
Like is she coming across stoned? It's wonderfully done.
Yeah. I didn't think about that, but I think you're absolutely right. Yeah, that's fucking hilarious.
Snyder in that he's so desperate to be part of the Scooby Gang in that episode.
Oh my gosh, I love the flip. Yeah. Guys, wait for me.
Wait. And then he tries to put the moves onto Joyce, and she's just like, dude,
so
not happening.
It's so good.
It's such a good episode.
I also love when he's like, I took karate at the Y.
Ethan Rain episodes are great.
Yeah. When he shows up, it's such a good time. Like, I'm sorry, Scooby Gang, but I'm really enjoying this. Just good stuff. But yeah, the Dark Age, Ethan Rain again, he's not as fun here because he's not really the big bad in this episode. It's something else that he happens to be part of, and then
he kind of brings the big bad in.
Well, I think Giles is supposed to get got before Ethan, and Ethan is like
a list of 6 people.
Yeah, because he's like there's like a list, and then there's like an order Igon's going at them in, and there's a way to like flip the order, and that's what Ethan does with Buffy, because he's like, you've got a better chance at defeating Igon than I do. I'm just a dude, and you're the fucking Slayer, so like, welcome to the Order of Igon, I guess. And she's like, ends up having to spend so much money on tattoo removal, which that's like the most unrealistic part of this episode.
Yeah,
because
I was a little bit torn up with that. So how they resolve the Eye of Igon is actually, you don't actually have a big fight. What happens is they bring an angel, who is dead. So rather than hop into, say, Jenny Calendar, who was knocked out, or someone else who might have been knocked out, it jumps into Angel as the nearest dead host, and obviously hosted within Angel is the vampire demon, and it's kind of it's a bit of a throwaway line. It's like, oh, I have a demon here that's been itching for a big fight for 200 or something years, and it's like, hang on, clever. I think it's a good idea, but I just feel like it wasn't executed all that well. Maybe
I feel like it just, like, I don't know, like to me, I was kind of like, it makes sense, don't get me wrong, like the logic follows, but I just think it's so funny because they're like, oh, Angel, come here, stand here, just look at, just stand here, yeah. Perfect. And like, oh, it resolved itself.
Yeah, I think that's like, it's clever, and it, like you said, it tracks. You go, well, yeah, like in the world, and it all makes sense, but you sort of go, well, I kind of wanted someone to bring us some swords and smash some shit up. Instead, it's kind of, oh, well, that was kind of anticlimactic. It's not that bad, is it?
Yeah, well,
especially when he possesses Jenny, she's all fucked up. Her skin's all like crazy, and she's speaking with a scary voice, and she's all like, wow, that's kind of terrifying. Like, what have they summoned? So
yeah,
it feels a little anticlimactic.
Yeah, like I definitely think there could have been something like the parts of the show where there's not like a ton of like action happening. There's usually emotional like drama happening, and so I'm like, or this
character development,
right? And I'm like, this episode doesn't have much of that in their climax.
Kind of does, in the sense that they set, because this is like where you really start to set up the Giles Jenny thing, because this is like where they start like really starting to care for each other, and she even, I think right near the beginning, like hints about wanting a bit of librarian action, and so I think it arguably moves their relationship forward. Not really anything else, but the thing is, I think it's a really good Monster of the Week.
Yeah.
And Ethan Rain's brilliant, but it's probably like maybe an 8, maybe 7.5. It's a very good episode, but it's
I think the payoff next season is better than the episode itself. Not that the episode is bad, like you said. It's just the payoff is so much like that. You have this, which is a glimpse into Giles's past, and then you have Band Candy, which is just teleport young Giles into older Giles's body.
It's such a fun episode,
and it takes
Band
this.
Candy is basically season 3's version of Halloween.
It's so fucking fun. I love that episode so much. Everything about it is so good, and just wonderful. But this is kind of like the start of that. Like the other thing, like if you don't have this episode, you don't really get Band Candy. Like you could, but it doesn't make as much sense. Like there's even a line where they're like, "Well,
you kind of can't skip."
Yeah.
Because there's development. Even though I know we're saying there's not a lot happened, but there's enough development and enough like reoccurrences of characters and events that apply to later episodes and seasons that you actually kind of can't skip it at all.
Yeah.
Like Ted, you could skip.
Yeah.
Bad Eggs, you could skip. And it wouldn't affect anything.
Yeah. I mean, you would be confused a little bit later on because the one Southern hick vampire brother comes back for revenge on Buffy.
Right.
But
for Bad Eggs, yes, he does, yes.
Yeah, which I think is...
for Homecoming?
Yeah. Which I love in Bad Eggs, the brother vampires in that one. They are so funny, just their dialogue.
They're a lot of fun.
And I'm like, I wish this episode was more of this.
Yeah, the overall episode of Bad Eggs is amongst my least favorite for the season.
Yeah.
And like you said, if they had like the Texan brothers as like the big bad, I think that'd be far better than the goofy. Like if the B plot was the goofy egg thing and the A plot was the vampires, I think that'd be better.
Oh yeah.
Switch around. I think it would have been a much better episode.
Definitely.
But we're jumping ahead a bit.
Yeah.
Because next week we've got to talk about What's My Line 1 and 2. I think we're going to have to just do those as a standalone because a lot happens and they're some of my favorite episodes.
Oh yeah, there's so much development, and not just in Buffy and Angel, but like the characters around them too, because that's when you really get Oz inducted and stuff.
Oz really flourishes, and then we almost want to. I think next week we almost want to talk. Don't know how we're going to dissect this. Yeah, I think we're just going to have to do What's My Line, and the problem is we've got What's My Line 1 and 2. Then we've got Ted and Bad Eggs, which. They really are filler episodes. Ted's the better of the two.
Yeah.
And then you got Surprise, Innocence, and
Phases.
So yeah, you got a lot happening. Like it really kicks off from now. Really, it starts to really kick off. So yes, we'll pick this up next week.
Yes.
Thank you as always. It's I know. We don't necessarily have a million people watching us, but I find it immensely fun because it's nice just to talk passionately about something and someone else can go, oh yeah, I get it.
Yeah. That
it's a little bit like when the guy who's the best man at my wedding when he comes around. I'm big into mountain biking and that, and when he comes around or I go over there, like it's just mountain biking talk like the whole time, and his wife and my wife get quite upset because it's just like bikes. It's like as soon as you two get together, that's what happens. It's a little bit like you and me now. It's like as soon as we get together, it's like Buffy. It's just kind of got like a one-track mind.
Yeah.
But what's nice as well, I think what we, with like I was saying before, we're going to try and add in discussing other shows and that a bit more because certainly as time goes on, we're not going to really be able to talk too much about like character development because we've just discussed it at length, being realistic.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be a bit more synopsy and a bit more breakdowny, but.
And like the main beats. Yeah, no, thank you.
Beats, yeah, exactly, yeah.
I love having someone to talk to about this because my older brother, he's always like, he's way too fucking busy and he would never want to like just sit down and talk Buffy like this because he likes Buffy, but he's not like, I don't know, a Buffy fanatic in the way you and I are, where it's like, oh yeah, and this happened and that. So yeah, it's just always so much fun Thank you, Logic, very much.
What I have suggested, and I know we discussed it a little bit. Let's talk about Raken or someone joining us who is a Buffy virgin, and we're going to try and break their BV place. So if there is if we can find someone, I don't know what the outcome with what Raken was.
Yeah, I need to follow up with him because we kind of just like he said he wouldn't want to do it like long term. He'd be willing to watch some of it, and do a couple episodes, but
yeah, we'll get in him. We'll maybe get him to watch 1 or 2 episodes in season 1, and then sort of just get his input, because it'd be quite interesting to see someone who's never seen it to real fresh set of eyes.
That's like, it's so much fun because Mom's watching it, and my mom is unfortunately someone who I can explain stuff to her from a show and none of it is spoiled because she won't fucking remember it. So I've explained a ton of the story beats before, but she was totally shocked when Angel was a vampire, and she was like, I thought Darla brought friends with her, and then she pulled out guns, and I was like, I know, dude, that's crazy, right? And so, I cannot wait for when Dawn shows up, so I can be like, no, she's been here the whole time, what are you talking about? Buffy's little sister. She's been here since, ever.
Yeah, just mess with her head.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, I shouldn't admit this, but I've obviously got everything downloaded on my NAS, and I actually only have season 1, 2, and 3 of Buffy downloaded. I've got all of Angel, obviously, but I don't have all of Buffy, shamefully.
Oh, damn.
So I'm actually going to, because I've got 11 episodes left before I've finished everything that I've got downloaded. So I'm going to have to get acquiring. No, I'm not downloading. I'm ripping from a Blu-ray, honestly.
He's watching it on Hulu. Leave him alone.
Yeah.
Which
actually, it's quite interesting. So before I go barreling off, my boy's been really enjoying Bluey. So generally I'll sit with him and we'll watch an episode of Bluey. The wife goes, there was a banned episode of Bluey. Do we have it? And it turns out there was an episode that they banned because the dad, who's called Bandit, pretends that he's pregnant, and the whole thing is it's actually I'd argue it's really pro sort of women, because he in essence has this fake belly with one of the kids hiding inside. And he goes through the motions of back pains and and I need to sit down and all this sort of stuff. And it's actually, I think it's quite empathetic. But apparently it was banned. But it turns out that I have it, and I think this is one of the important things that this is why I don't use Hulu. This is why I don't use any of these things, because they can turn around and go, oh yeah, you know that show Buffy, yeah, Nick is a creepy guy, therefore we're banning it.
Yeah.
So, tough luck. Yeah, but what's happened with old Thingy Masters, they could turn around and go, oh yeah, guess what? You know that show, The Ranch? Yeah, it's gone. It's done.
Yeah, that's I definitely I'm one of those, because I have I think I have all of the seasons of Buffy on DVDs. So I do have them physical copies. I always encourage people physical copies, because you just never know when it's gonna come off of those streaming sites. You definitely
I've been buying CDs and DVDs, because I am half joking, because I am ripping from DVDs quite often. So what I'll do now is I'll go to the charity shop, or in the UK we've got a shop called CEX. It's pronounced sex, but it isn't a sex shop. It's it's Central Exchange is what it stands for.
Okay.
And it's it's a little bit pikey-ish, because generally it's almost stuff that's been robbed. So someone will or if is down and outs would go and sell their DVD collection, so they can get 20 quid to go buy something.
Yeah.
But what's really good is you can go in and you can pick up a DVD for 50p.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been doing. It's just oh sweet, I found what did I find? The Middle. I really enjoy The Middle. It's in the vein of Malcolm in the Middle, and they kind of got the similar name, but it's got the janitor from Scrubs in it as the dad. And it's a really fun, just nice American sitcom thing. And I found season 1 and 2 for £1 each. I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna have that. And I've been buying CDs I've been buying like crazy because it's like, well, I want this bizarre. In fact, a good example, you mentioned MXPX. I bought two MXPX records because I had to get them from America. Couldn't get them here. And I wanted in like high quality, like FLAC quality, and I can't get it anywhere. But I can buy the CD for like £2. It'll be with me in 5 days' time or whatever it is, and then I rip it, and I've now got it saved forever. So I've been going through a lot of stuff and just, backing up music and TV and movies and all that, because you never know. Tomorrow they might turn around and go, "Yep, Buffy's off of CW or whatever."
We just sold the rights or whatever, or Nick Bredon's a prick. Yeah, the
worst one. Do you know about this? It's called what's it called? Something Space.
Lost in Space?
No. It's a Final Space. It's a cartoon series. It was by this Canadian guy, and it's actually quite a decent show. It's almost got a Futurama-ish vibe to it.
Okay.
Not well, I guess partially because it sets in like in space in the future. And the show, so I'm probably going to get this wrong, but like CBS, so a Canadian broadcasting, whatever they're called, CBS, sold the rights for it, and they wrote the show off as like a tax break or something like that, and now the show's gone. So it's not on any on Netflix or Amazon or anything, and they did a limited like run of the Blu-rays, and then they stopped pressing the Blu-rays, so they don't exist. So if you want to get Final Space on like a physical copy, it's going to cost you like £100 or something just to get on Blu-ray. It's like mad money. So it's just been like removed from. This doesn't exist because of a tax write-off. So this guy's life's work is gone because CBS were like, yeah, fuck it, it's a tax write-off. And it's actually quite a decent show as well.
That stuff pisses me off.
It's insane. It's really bad. So yeah, like I think everyone needs to be much more gooder. Much more gooder. I stand by my words. Much more gooder at like being like hard on physical media, and if you have like the technical know-how, doing your own like your own media server or something like that, because I think it's going to get worse. Oh. And they've been pulling episodes of what was it? There was an episode pulled of I think it might have been Faulty Towers. It's just like arbitrarily. Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the German episode of Faulty Towers. Don't mention the war once. I did, but I think I got away with it. It's like it's such a silly joke, but it's like because it mentions World War II, there you go, it's banned.
Yeah, well,
sensitive to Germans or some bollocks.
And in America, things are a little bit looser, but there are still things that like we will ban. And so like the other thing is just like you never know what's going on behind the scenes, what companies are like exchanging, and like you said, like they bought this show for a tax write-off, so now it's basically nowhere. So
they just wrote it off. Yeah,
it really is like very important to have your own physical copies of stuff. I have physical copies of all of Buffy, and I think most of Angel, because I was also I grew up, or I didn't grow up, I went to college in Nashville, and they have this thing in around Nashville, Franklin I think it is, called McKay's, and it's basically just this big hub of like you go sell your DVDs, you go sell your games, you go sell your books, you go sell your records.
Like CEX then.
Yeah.
Like, so someone can turn up with like an old TV.
Yeah.
And they'll buy the TV.
Yeah.
An old phone, Blu-rays, CDs. Just basically almost anything they'll buy it. I mean, and you get like if you do sell to them, it's terrible, but it's usually for down and outs who are just get rid of everything.
Yeah, they do at McKay's. They'll do store credit, which you get more for that versus like
CEX, yeah.
So my older brother, he'll be like, any books you don't want, bring them to me when you guys come visit, because I'll go, trade them out for McKay credit, and then I'll be able to get stuff I want. So
then you can trade. Yeah. I've done. I mean, I keep saying it's for down and outs, but I've done it where I'm gonna get rid of this. I'm gonna go buy myself a new phone or something like that, where you just like you can buy a phone outright for, instead of £1,000 new, it's £800 or something. You go, well, okay, I'm going to save $200.
Yeah,
It's worth doing, especially if you've got something to trade. I'm gonna trade in my old phone and get this one instead. So yeah, I mean, I've certainly used it. So, but yeah. Anyways, right, I better go and do daddy duties. Fun as always.
Yes, same here.
And we'll catch up next week.
Perfect. Thanks, Logic. Have a good one.
Take care. Nighty night. Yeah.